Hi. So how's your year been? Fuck, it's August. My year has... What happened this year? I don't even know what happened this year. Things have been kind of a whirlwind, especially like the last month, July, because I've been kind of both not doing a lot and doing a lot, you know what I mean? Where's all the time gone? But at the same time, I've been doing things. I don't know. What happened in January? We went to Ishocon, which is a small local convention in Novi, Michigan. This was their first year doing a 3-day winter event, which I think doing a convention in the winter it's always a little bit of a risk just because of our weather. Put on by Otaku Detroit, which is a anime store in the Detroit area. They've been sort of pushing to do their own sort of events because they have been doing events at their store. They've started off with doing 1-day events, so this was kind of their first push into a bigger 3-day event. And they actually sold out of tickets, which was astonishing. It was a couple of reasons. First, they did decide to limit tickets for the weekend, which made a lot of sense because of the hotel's capacity. They didn't want to overwhelm the hotel, and people are generally starved for something to do in January, so they didn't want to overwhelm the hotel, which was very fair and very smart, forward thinking. This meant that there was a mad dash to get tickets, and everything ended up selling out so fast, which I've never heard a convention selling out of tickets, especially in their first year as a 3-day event. So that was really cool. February, I got engaged. So now I'm planning a wedding, I guess. We've been together for over 18 years. We've known each other for 20 years. We met in college. I'm old, get off my nut. And I think finally we're like, you know what? Why not? It makes sense on taxes. It'll offer certain protections. So we said, all right, fuck the police. Let's just go ahead and do it. Pretty excited about that. It's so easy to get overwhelmed and stressed out with trying to plan this big event. And I think especially if you are a person who really cares a lot about a wedding and cares a lot about, the tradition and has really been dreaming about it. I never really dreamed about a wedding. Like I'd had ideas, but it was never anything concrete. Like, I want to come in on my entrance like in a carriage drawn by 6 white horses, blah, blah. None of that. I've been trying not to stress about it. It's been great. He's been also great too. We're planning it together, so it's not just me putting on all the emotional labor. That was February. In March, I found my wedding gown. That was easy because it takes like 6 to 9 months for a custom order gown to come in. And I went to a somewhat local place and they'd given me the option because they had the gown I liked in my size for me to try on as a sample, which is rare. And it's not that companies don't want brides to try on their sizes. At least in my experience, what it is when you order samples from wedding gown designers, they only want you to order in the standard sample sizes, which is from a size 8 to a size 14. So if you want beyond that, instead of paying the sample price for it, which is usually a slight discount, you have to pay the wholesale price that you would pay if you were ordering it for someone, which can be about 50% of the final price that bride would pay. But they had the dress I liked in the size that I thought would fit me. I went and tried it on, and then I had them order it because as someone who is plus size and has worked with plus size brides and got really sick of my former boss's bullshit where they would just be like, just sell it off the floor right now. I'm like, no, I want a new one. I wanted a new one for me. And I wanted that plus size sample to be able to be there for other plus size brides to get to try it on. It's so pretty, you guys. I'm pretty hype about it. Was it April that the eclipse happened? I thought that was March too. Once you get old like me, time doesn't really count for anything. So then in April, we had the eclipse. That was pretty fucking cool. What happened in May? Did I do anything in May? I'll be honest, I don't remember. And then June, we did our International Lolita Day. Of course, we did a little event. And then July was kind of the hell month for me. So all of those previous months were preparing for this hell month because my niece was coming into town from Arizona. She's also a weeb. So she was coming into town for the month of July. And I said, hey, the showrunners who run Otaku Detroit and Ishocon, they also have a summer version. So it's called the Otaku Detroit Summer Bash. I said to her, do you want to go to an anime convention? She'd never been. So I said, all right, we will do just a one day. We also had made plans way back in January with some other friends. They wanted to attend Star Trek Las Vegas, which is a huge multi-day event in Las Vegas at the end of July, beginning of August, which is not a great time to go to Vegas, really. It was so fucking hot. I'll get to that. I'm not really a Trekkie. My fiance and I have been watching a lot of the new series. It's what he's really into, so I've seen, and he's been trying to introduce me to some of the older series. So I've been watching like TNG, which the one from the 80s and 90s, Discovery, Strange New Worlds, Picard, which was, TNG, the sequel. Lower Decks. Lower Decks is definitely my favorite. We're trying to get back into Deep Space Nine. It's one of those where I need to actually be able to just sit and focus on it and watch it. So that's been a lot of fun. I thought, you know what the hell? It's a lot of my friends from college and some of their extended friends. That's a great group. The guy who actually kind of orchestrated it, he's actually going to be our officiant at our wedding. So I'm pretty hype about that. And I just thought, you know what? I haven't been to Vegas since I was a kid. My fiance has never been out west. And I thought that could be cool. There's so much to do in Vegas. I actually will probably make a separate video about it. I also made plans with friends to go to Tekko this year, which is, of course, the third weekend in July. So that weekend of the 19th through the 21st. So, July was Otaku Detroit Summer Bash on the 14th, Tekko on the 19th, and Star Trek Las Vegas, flying out on the 31st and returning I think the 7th or something. So that's not a lot of downtime between each. I think I had I don't even think it was 10 days between Tekko and Star Trek Las Vegas, so I ended up just leaving my bags half packed. I was like, I didn't wear these, I'll wear them for that. It's fine. Water break. Also, we kicked off July preparing for all of these events by getting COVID. This is the second time I've had COVID somehow. So, which worked out great because then I was immune for the entire month against anything. Bro, it sucked this time. And we have been vaccinating. We have been getting the boosters. So I can't even, it was rough with the boosters for me. My fiance didn't have it nearly as badly, which is interesting because usually he has it really fucking bad. It was rough. So COVID's definitely on a spike right now, especially people are getting ready to go back to school, the children's. So it's gonna suck. Wear a mask if you're feeling unsafe or if you have something cool coming up. That worked out because then we were well prepared. I do want to talk about Otaku Detroit, Tekko, and Star Trek Las Vegas. I kind of want to do a compare and contrast. This is just sort of a rough outline, the difference between the three, the things that I've noticed, things that maybe some of them can improve on. I can't rate them equally across all measures because my fiance did not attend Tekko with me. That was on my own, and that does play into some of the discussion that we'll get into a little bit later. This is me. Okay, Bloomer, we're fucking back and ready to talk about the hell month that was July and the different events I attended this year. So let's start off easy, and I'll just give sort of a general rundown in case you have not heard of these events or ever attended. Otaku Detroit Summer Bash, as I said, it is a weekend convention taking place in Novi, Michigan, hosted by the brand Otaku Detroit, or rather the store, the business. It's just a smaller scale convention. They kind of want to keep it smaller scale, it feels like, which is fine because there is usually so much going on in the summer, especially with Colossal Con, Dragon Con. So I think they just want to ease into it and have Ishocon continue to be sort of their main convention that they put on every year. I know because this year was such a major success that they are planning a bigger venue for next year for it. So I may attend, depending on what we have going on in January. We will see. Tekko, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Really easy drive. It was just a 4-hour drive. I went with my friend Kim and my friend Elaine. Kim, I had also gone to Nightshade with a couple years back. It was really great to room with her again and to go with her again because she drives the whole time. And that's really great for me because I drive all week for work and I'm very lazy. And then also my friend Elaine, I took her to K-Con. And that was sort of her first Lolita event. So this was kind of her second anime Lolita convention. And then of course Star Trek Las Vegas. Not super my thing, but I can appreciate it. this is a big one. There was a group of 10 of us going, all staying in our own rooms, but at least we were all kind of coordinating travel plans together and kind of what we would do out there. Like I said, I hadn't been to Vegas in like probably 30 years. Last time I went, I was a child and was with my family, which I mean, I still had fun. And I figured with this as well, I was like, I'm creative. I can still find a way to have fun. Worst case, oh no, I'll just hang out in the pool a fuck ton. What was good for me too is that there is so much overlap with horror and science fiction. And so you do get a lot of actors kind of crossing through the same things. Like one of the guests they had, of course, was Jeffrey Combs. Everyone knows Jeffrey Combs if you follow Star Trek. He was also the villain in Reanimator. I think that was one of his first major roles. And when I was at Tekko, someone had a print of him as his character in Reanimator, and I said, oh, I have to get that because I'm going to see Jeffrey Combs at Star Trek Las Vegas next week. I'll have him sign it. I figured worst case scenario, I will find stuff to do. I'm creative. We're not going to all want to do everything at the convention the whole time. So we're going to talk a little bit about price. We're going to talk about the duration of the event, or at least how long we attended. Location we just covered. So wildly different locations. Pittsburgh and Novi were easy drives. Vegas, we did fly. I will also be touching a little bit on accessibility. Can't really discuss for Tekko because it was centering mostly around my fiance. Mobility has been an issue for him this summer. I can talk a little bit about that. And it is, to be fair, it is a very temporary situation for him. While I can't come at it from a long-term perspective, I can at least talk about it a little bit from a short-term perspective and give some thoughts and suggestions there that hopefully will help some people. Hotel accommodation, we'll talk about food, we'll talk about the dealer's hall overall entertainment value, general worthiness, like would I go again, etc. The biggest difference between all three right off the bat was price. With Otaku Detroit, just going down for Sunday, it was $25 a person. Wasn't bad. So, that's doable for a few hours. I didn't mind. With Tekko, of course, a little bit higher of a price, $75 for the whole weekend. And that's, I believe, just their basic tier. There was also the tea party tickets, because of course they did a tea party again this year. With this year's guest was Baby the Star Shine Bright for the fashion contingent, which was very exciting. I heard they were originally going to have Meta, but something happened where Meta had to pull out, which sucks. But that's okay. Hopefully we can try again next year if I do go next year. So Tekko was a little bit more. It was around $140. Star Trek Las Vegas was the worst in terms of price. To be fair, they had multiple tiers of tickets. Sorry, I have to look up a lot of information. Like, you're just gonna have to deal with seeing me on my phone. Okay. So they did have single day passes, $70 per day. So that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's $280. So $280 if you just bought every day separately. Then they had preferred single day admission passes. It came with access to some of the nighttime events. So that was $95 for Thursday, $120 for Friday, $120 for Saturday, and $110 for Sunday. Getting up there a little bit in price. Then they had the general admission, which was $280, and that was for the whole weekend, so that Thursday through Sunday. There were a lot of tiers to this. They had Copper, which came with some cool, like it gave you a little bit earlier access to pre-reg. You got some color-coded wristbands and badges, and admission to some of the additional things, separate panels. That was $379. That was the tier that we should have gotten, but no. I panicked because when we were looking at tickets, it looked like Copper was all sold out. The weekend we were looking, Copper was not sold out. They just hadn't opened up Copper tickets yet. So we got Captain's Chair. Do not get Captain's Chair. Unless you are a Trekkie. Then it's fine. Do whatever the fuck you want. Copper tier is the lowest of the premier tiers where you can get a reserved seat. So you literally mark out your seat like you would while buying a plane ticket, and that's your seat the entire weekend in the panel room. So that's very useful, especially if you do want to make sure to have a spot where it's nice and close. Maybe it's optimal for you, or maybe you prefer an aisle seat because, you need to be up and moving around quite a bit, things like that. So that's helpful. It's also handy if you are dealing with an accessibility issue. You can pre-reserve a handicap seat. When we purchased our tickets, we did not have an accessibility issue, so we did not feel the need to earmark that. We went with the captain's chair, which is the next up. There's multiple levels. The names of these are terrible. Like, they should let me like name them. Gold convention package is their highest tier, then captain's chair, and then copper. And then after that, it just goes into general admission. So we got captain's chair. I believe we paid around $570 for the weekend. Is the most I've ever paid for tickets. So like when we were gagging and choking about Great Lace's price, and granted Great Lace is only 2 days. I'm going to Great Lace, by the way. Oh fuck, that's what happened in January, was the bloodbath for the tickets. Anyway, going to Great Lace next year. It's going to be a wild time. But yeah, these are the most expensive tickets that we've ever purchased to an event. There were a lot of perks. And then gold tier, don't get the gold tier. You do get a lot of complimentary autographs wrapped up in that, so if there's someone that you want to be sure to get their autograph. And there's also a Thursday night dinner party. That would have been cool. It's fine. Anyway, point is, it was $1,200 for gold tier. So, massive jump from captain's chair to gold tier. But a lot of value in that. So if you are a hardcore Trekkie, if this is your big splashy vacation, go for gold tier. So here's my side rant about their ranking, like their levels. Captain's chair should be the highest tier. Like that should be the name of your highest tier. Captain's chair, and then, I don't know, like lieutenant. It's been a while. Just the different tiers. I don't know, like captain's chair, all right, or enterprise tier, and then DS9 tier, then the bottom tier can be Cerritos tier. I don't know. Either do gold, silver, and copper. Don't do this weird captain's chair. I don't know. This is a pointless rant. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just me being pedantic. Star Trek Las Vegas was by far the most expensive event, simply because of the tickets. But the value was there. We didn't really... I wish we would have done more. There was a gala we were going to go to. We didn't. It's okay. We ate. We did so fucking much. I was so tired. I'm still so tired. Difference in duration. So that we were out there for 6 days. And the event was really only 4 days. But this gave us a little buffer time. There is an unofficial Monday pool party that everyone participates in. So they essentially take over one of the pools connected to the Rio being the host hotel, party for a few hours on Monday afterwards to sort of like relax and hang out. I like that I wrote down notes. So I was like, all right, this will keep it nice and concise and I won't go on tangents. And then I'm like, no, we're going to zigzag on this bitch. Definitely a different duration per events. Way different price points. Locations, obviously. Novi, Michigan, pretty local to us. It wasn't that far of a drive. It's a really nice area. It's one of the Detroit suburbs, or Metro Detroit area. For Tekko, Pittsburgh, right downtown. Again, easy access to a variety of places to go outside of the convention center itself. Really short walk. With Vegas, we stayed right in the host hotel, the Rio. And I think it was a farther walk to get to the convention center in the Rio than it was to get from the host hotel, the Westin in Pittsburgh, to the convention center. So that was pretty interesting. Like, it was a far walk, which wasn't great for my fiance, but they had options. And now I can talk a little bit, I guess, about... I guess I'll lead right into hotel accommodation from there. Otaku Detroit, I can't really talk a lot about that. The hotel is quite small for the convention. Like, it's meant to be more for, like, small, multiple events in one sitting as opposed to one massive event basically taking over the ground floor. So that is why they've been limiting tickets for the events. Apart from that, we didn't stay in the rooms, etc. Because it was just the day. So I can't really talk a whole lot about the Sheraton Novi Hotel to that end because we didn't experience it. We didn't even when we went for Ishocon. We just drove back and forth every day. Pittsburgh for Tekko. We stayed at the host hotel, the Westin. We got just a basic room, a 2-bed room with a shower. It had walls, which was a nice change from the W for KCON. So there was actually like doors and walls and shit. Amazing. The room itself was fine, but we had a lot of housekeeping issues. The sheets had been washed, but there were still like some stains on some of them. And the beds felt like they weren't in peak condition. You know, like the beds probably need to be refreshed and remodeled. Our shower Okay, so the shower stall in the Westin hotel room has like a soap holder on the wall, like is part of the tile, and there was a used bar of soap in that soap holder. Kim called down to the front desk and let them know, like, hey, did our room even get cleaned? Because they just had Anthrocon, like, I think a week or so before. So the Westin has just been getting slammed with events after events. So Kim called them and said, hey, there's still, like, used soap in our shower. Could you clean it? And they said, oh, yeah, we'll send someone up tonight, blah, blah, blah. That was Thursday when we got in. So we said, okay, we got in around, like, 5-ish. Oh, that was also the weekend that the CrowdStrike takedown happened. Actually, guests were unable to make it to Tekko because their flights were canceled because of the CrowdStrike grounding so many flights through Delta. So that was fun. We had no idea. Like, we didn't really have any consequences from it, so we kind of escaped that. So we called the hotel, let them know, hey, there's used soap left in the shower, and they said, oh, okay, we'll fix it. And we went to go do our badge pickup. There was an issue with our badge pickup for Tekko. Tekko got started like 2 hours late because the previous event still had not like cleared out the room and left at 2 p.m. like they were supposed to. So they didn't clear out the room and leave until for at least a couple more hours, violating their contract. So it took Tekko time to get set up. And people were understandably upset. They're like, I waited in line for 2.5 hours, blah, blah, blah. This is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. They're not wrong. We joined the line around 6, I believe. It took us like an hour and a half, I think, which is still kind of, it's a bit of a wait. I'm used to our big local convention that I won't attend anymore taking 3 to 4 hours to get people badges, whether it's pre-reg or regular badge pickup. We were wrapped around the building, so we were wrapped around the convention center building for pickup, like 3/4. And so Tekko staff was going up and down making sure, hey, because we were like, there was like an active road next to us. They're like, stay on the sidewalk, stay out of the road. Everyone get to one side, single file as much as you can. So while it was a pain in the ass to wait, it was still ultimately, for us anyway, because we didn't line up right at 2 o'clock like a lot of other people, it was still only an hour and a half. And people were mad that again, people are allowed to be mad. They're allowed to be frustrated about the long wait. Especially because it did interfere with who could actually get set up for the garage sale that they were holding that night as well. Because garage sale attendees who had tables could not get set up until they had a badge, and they couldn't get a badge for hours. So it threw off the entire schedule of that day because some clown asses couldn't, get their shit together and get out in time. Because I didn't realize that unless you're the highest tier, Tekko doesn't give you an option to ship badges. So unless you pay for the highest tier badge, they will not pre-ship a badge to you. It makes sense in some ways. I get it. Like, that way, then if you forget your badge, you're not totally fucked over. Like, I would be fucked over since it's like a 4.5 hour drive. But at the same time, it is a little annoying. Like, it would save some stress. Anyway, so we waited to get our badges. And then we said, all right, we will go and get dinner. We went and got dinner. We go back to our room first to drop some things off, and we noticed, like, oh, no one's still been up to clean the room. Okay, that's gross. So we said we went, like, a couple of times, and we were like, can we get extra towels, and could someone please clean our fucking shower? Long story short, it never got cleaned. Like, that fucking used soap became our unofficial fourth roommate, because they never fucking took it out. First, I don't know if there was, like, a miscommunication where they were like, oh, they don't like they've used up the little trial soap that we put in here and they want a new one. No, literally the whole fucking time there was a bar of used soap from the previous guests in our room. Anyway, there were other issues with the room that I can't really remember. I'm sure they'll come up in a bit. Don't stay at the Westin. Stay at the Drury if you want like free food, or stay at the Courtyard Marriott. That's probably what we'll do next year. So Westin overall, for the price, I'd rather stay at the Courtyard Marriott. It felt like the Courtyard Marriott, that's where we stayed last year, was actually a little bit closer to the convention center too. So the hotel for Star Trek Las Vegas, the Rio actually just went under a bunch of renovations. So they got bought out, I believe, last year or the year previous, and they've slowly been renovating the space to update it, make it more modern. My fiance and I decided we've never really done a lot of splashy vacations. Like, we've done a couple little vacations here and there, like we go for a weekend up north. We went to New Orleans last January for a friend's birthday. We've only now started to really like say fuck it and go on nice vacations. So he said, let's get a nice hotel room. Let's get a jacuzzi suite. So I said, all right. So we got a jacuzzi suite in the renovated Ipanema Tower. It was so worth every penny. I think it was like $1,600 for the duration of our stay, which we flew in Wednesday, flew out Tuesday, so that's 5 or 6 nights. We had 2 rooms. We had the first room had sort of a kitchenette area with no coffee maker because they had a Starbucks downstairs, but I was like, fuck the police, brought my Hello Kitty electric kettle, and then we picked up some styrofoam cups and some instant coffee, so we were good there. So we had 2 rooms. We also had like a conference table, which was really great when everyone wanted to kind of like converge and have pizza together and hang out for a few hours. We could have everyone there. We had more than enough sitting space. We had a huge couch, and then we had an entire separate room that was bigger, and that was where our bed was. We had a second bathroom, so we had one little like half bath right when you come in, and then we had a second much bigger bathroom, gorgeous walk-in shower that I kind of want now because it was lit, and 2 sinks, a big closet that you could like store clothes in. It was so nice. And of course the jacuzzi tub was right up against some windows. We were able to, we used it a couple of times. That was really freaking nice. So for $1,600, the value was definitely there for that room. I would absolutely do it again because when we used to go to the big local convention, it would only be a 3-day event, like 3 or 4 days, and we'd be in one of their rooms, which was maybe about half, it was less than half the size of that suite, and we'd be paying about the same amount, that $1,600. Definitely worth it in the Rio. If you want to splurge, if that's your big vacation for the year, Star Trek Las Vegas, spend the extra money, get the jacuzzi suite, especially if you're going with a romantic partner or partners. Fucking do it up, because that tub was awesome, and I'm really glad that we did it. Am I going to put tally points? I'm going to forget. I'm not going to remember. But so Otaku Detroit gets sort of a data not found for hotel accommodations. Weston for Tekko gets a 0. Yeah, no, fuck it. They'll get a 0. I don't give a shit. And Rio in Vegas gets a 10 out of 10, I guess. Yeah. Well, okay, we'll do a 9 out of 10 simply because they didn't have a coffee maker in the room. But your girl is resourceful, so... Let's talk a little bit about accessibility. Again, I can really only cover Otaku Detroit and Star Trek Las Vegas on this because it was my fiance's issue. He did not come to Tekko with me. I went with my girlfriends. For Otaku Detroit, there's just a table after you go to pre-reg, pick up your badge or registration. Then there's a separate table that you can go up to with a lovely person. They will give you a sticker that says accessibility that you can put right on your badge. That lets people at the door and any staff know that, hey, you get priority seating, so if you need extra time to get between panel rooms, if you need extra space, or if you need to sit up front or sit in an aisleway for viewpoint, you have that sticker on your badge. And as we went as a group, so myself, my niece, and my fiance, we all got the stickers so that it would signify, hey, we are all together as a group. That way we didn't have to be broken up to sit in on panels, things like that. It seemed the easiest way to do it as well. He was actually in a wheelchair at that time because he was having such issues that it was just easier for him to get a wheelchair to just be rolled around instead of trying to hobble around with crutches. Like, he wasn't healed enough to get around comfortably with just a cane. So he was able to get around most of the time with a cane for Star Trek Las Vegas. He also went ahead and looked up, there were multiple places to rent mobility scooters. Honestly, he should have rented one because those things could fucking go. So he was able to get around decently well. Star Trek Las Vegas, they didn't do anything like an accessibility badge, things like that. We didn't super need it at that point. He was doing okay getting around with a cane. And they also had some aisles that were left extra wide as walkways in the main panel room. And they would have areas marked off with signage saying, hey, you can park your mobility scooter here and then take your seat if that's something you choose to do, like especially if you have like a middle seat. So everywhere in Vegas you can rent mobility scooters. He was kind of looking up ahead just to make sure, but he was able to travel with a cane and a knee brace. It was still a lot of walking. I felt kind of bad, but he did mostly okay. And the jacuzzi did kind of help, and just keeping his leg elevated, things like that. And so far as accessibility, Otaku Detroit gets 2 stars. I like that they had a quick sticker that you could slap on and that everyone in your party would get that sticker so you wouldn't be broken up. I think too, since we were traveling with my niece who is a minor, that was to make sure that she wasn't separated from us, which I appreciate as well. Star Trek Las Vegas also gets 2 stars. If long distance walking is an issue for you, definitely look into the mobility scooters. Never did get one, but we at least had it in mind. And a lot of people were using them, and they were like, you could fucking go if you really needed to. So that was pretty impressive there. I think I talked a little bit about duration earlier. It was like this event just kept fucking getting longer. One day at Otaku Detroit, and I'm working in between as well. So only one day at Otaku Detroit, whatever. Honestly, like it was a few hours, like it was maybe 4 or 5 hours. Not a big deal. I can handle that, It wasn't crazy crowded, like it wasn't slammed ass like some events can be. So it was pretty breathable, and I ran into some friends there, which is always great. Tekko, of course, like the 3 or 4 days. That might start being my max on I don't know. I just did too much, way too close together. The 3 or 4 days, you get in Thursday. I do prefer a Monday leave, but we checked out Sunday. And what was really great was, the Westin does get a point for this. They had a specific room that was just for luggage for people who had checked out but were still enjoying the event. And they had a gentleman who was in charge of it, so he was there to kind of monitor and make sure no one was being fucky and stealing stuff. He would give you a tag that you could put on your luggage. You'd put it all together in a little pile, and someone would hold on to the other part of the tag, and then that way he could match it up. And I give him props because we had gotten our car back out of valet, because we used valet parking, which was another thing. There were 2 new chips in the paint on my friend's car that weren't there when we left, because she had just gotten that car and just had it like waxed and detailed and cleaned before we left. And of course the valet guys are like, we didn't do it. She's like, and I don't think anything ever came of it. This was not a good experience with the Westin, which is a damn shame. Like it sucks when you have that perfect storm of shitty things happening on a vacation. It really, it kind of taints the whole event. But the storage for our luggage after being checked out of the rooms, that guy was great. So while we were down there dealing with that, the man monitoring the luggage room did come down and he said, hey, I think one of you maybe forgot something upstairs. Could you just come with me and check? I ran back up, double checked, and it was a different group. And one of the girls there was like a table in the middle of the room. One of the girls from the different group had set some stuff on there while she ran into the restroom and changed real quick before beginning the drive home. So because he knew that we'd been also setting stuff on that table to kind of sort through our things, make sure we had everything. So I did really appreciate that. He was looking out for us. That guy was great. Valet service, rest of the hotel experience, it was somewhere to stay, but like, fuck, dude. That fucking used soap. I've never dealt with it. Oh, and our tub, like the drain was slowly not draining. Like, so the first night we got there, it was fine. And then a couple nights later, when I go in to wash my hair, I'm like standing in like 2 inches of water and I'm like, the fuck? And I was the first to shower, so I felt really bad. And I kind of had to tell them, I'm like, hey guys, the drain's not working. They were like, yeah, that's been slowly getting worse all weekend. So I was like, okay, that's fucking... The Westin was not having a good time. So I don't think we would stay there next year. I think we would stay at the Drury or we would stay at the Courtyard if we go next year. What am I even talking about right now? The duration. Jesus Christ. Like I said, we flew in Wednesday, flew back out Tuesday, because, the Tuesdays and Wednesdays are the cheapest days to fly, supposedly. And, it's just nice to have an extra day. So Wednesday we got in around 9:30 p.m. Vegas time. I don't know what that, I'm not sure. Is it Pacific? No. Mountain time? I think it's mountain time. I don't know. Fuck it. Vegas time. So that was kind of late in the day. The one thing that sucked was that it was like everything was closing. And it was like, yeah, it's Wednesday, but it's Vegas. What the fuck? Like, Sin City. I don't know. We also weren't on the Strip. I did really enjoy that it was just myself and my fiance in our room, because you do get peopled out. Star Trek Las Vegas, despite its insane price point, is not immune to the issue of overcrowding and too many fucking people just stopping dead ass in the middle of a fucking walkway to have a goddamn conversation, or like cutting between you and your fiance, and it's like, or even cutting you off and it's like, I'm walking slow so that he doesn't lose track of me because, you know, he's working with a cane. It was just one of those, I had to kind of fusroda people a lot and just be like, excuse us, and just kind of bark it out and get them to like fucking move. Like, this is an issue everywhere. If you need to check something on your fucking phone, do not stop dead ass in the middle of a fucking walkway and gawp into the black mirror of doom scrolling because you're not sure what autograph times Mary Wiseman has up. She didn't have them posted online. They were just at her table and whatever. Like, fucking step to one side and look. Get out of my fucking way. And this is an issue with every event. This is an issue everywhere. In the fucking grocery store, on the fucking sidewalk in a city, in schools, I'm sure. I don't know. I haven't been in a school in like, don't worry about it. So if you need to check something on your goddamn phone, step to one side and get the fuck out of my way. Okay? You know, we all fall susceptible to it because we have a lot going on. We have a lot to process. But there was definitely a point where we were all kind of peopled out from like the general strangers around us, even though, you know, you have that group sync of we're all here for one thing that we really enjoy. And even though I was with a group of people who I've known for 20 years, who I really care about, it's still, you get peopled out. You know, you still get peopled out, and you need some downtime so you can pop your bra off, be in your pajamas, and just, you know, sprawl on a bed and stare into your doom scroll box and not have to put the mask on. No one cared who I was till I put the mask on. It was a little long, but at the same time, we were able to find some downtime every day. This group was really great because there was no, oh, but, you know, we're all going to go watch this panel with these guys. It was just, oh, yeah, if you need some downtime, that's where we'll be. We had a group chat going the whole time. You know, it's a double-edged sword. Group chats were fantastic for this because it was like, hey, this is the panel that's starting now. Oh, hey, you know, here's what's going on in this room. We're going to head to dinner this night. And because there is so much to do in Vegas, it was easy to find ways to kind of, if you weren't interested in anything else happening at the event, or if it was kind of the end of the night, it was pretty easy to find other things to do in the area that were only a short Uber ride away. We did a lot of Ubering, which was also great. Like, it worked out perfect. What was fascinating to me, and I hadn't experienced this yet, but it's so prevalent in Vegas, is the hotels now have separate Uber pickup and Uber drop-off locations. So Uber, Lyft have separate pickup drop-off locations. The regular taxi services in the city all have one location. We only took a taxi, I think, one time. But for them, yeah, it was literally like you walk out the front door, hey, there's a waiting taxi, get in, he'll take you to where you need to go, drop you off the front. With Ubers and Lyft, they would drop you off at the front, but then you had to walk over to a separate location to like their designated Uber Lyft pickup. So that was interesting. I had not expected that. And in a lot of ways it does make sense because one, it sort of helps protect taxi services, makes it easier for them to be accessed and for them to be readily available for people who are really like need a taxi immediately, can't wait for an Uber or Lyft. Also, it keeps from there being so much congestion and from it being so confusing. If you have a bunch of Ubers, a bunch of Lyfts, a bunch of taxis all waiting in one spot, you know, how can you be sure who you're getting to? And I know it's like, oh, well, Uber and Lyft tell you, like, you know, they tell you your driver and what kind of car they're driving. I don't know what a fucking Polestar looks like. Oh, but they give you a little picture. I don't fucking know what it looks like. It doesn't matter, all right? I have car face blindness, okay? Give me something easy to find, like a 300C or a Silverado or something. I don't know. I'm just a simple Midwestern girl who grew up knowing the big three. I can figure out a Tesla. Oh God, we saw a Cybertruck. We were out there. It was like a matte black Cybertruck. And of course we were just clowning on it. And I think the driver like heard us as we were getting in. And I'm like, you know what? Like, fuck you, dude. Your fucking knife box that can't handle rain. So who's really the bigger asshole here? I don't know. It's fine. Cybertrucks are stupid. Don't buy one. They crave blood. Anyway, 6 days was a little bit long. But it helped too that we were able to have our own room and be kind of separate and like closed off from others and kind of, get that recharge time that introverts need. And I think too it was compounded by the fact that I had been doing so much traveling and had been working so little, because that first week, literally like July 1st, I had COVID. I was off work that whole week between the 4th of July holiday and stopping the spread. I think it worked like one day, and then I took a COVID test because I was just feeling like dog shit. And it was like, you're positive. And I was like, oh, fuck. Time is an illusion. And then it was a couple days next week, and then we went to Tekko, and then I think it was like 10 days between Tekko and Las Vegas. So I barely worked the month of July. And it was just so much traveling, so much having to keep my life compartmentalized into bags. It was just a lot. And I was just really glad to be home by the end of it. Food. Otaku Detroit really doesn't get any points here. It's fine. Like, we only really ate at the Inn Hotel restaurant. It was fine. We got spinach artichoke dip. It was okay. I think we just ordered too much. My fiance got a Reuben because he measures all restaurants by their Reuben sandwiches. And it was barely a Reuben. Like, it was corned beef, marble rye bread, but there was no Thousand Island dressing and there was no coleslaw. Like, it's not a Reuben. You're missing half the goddamn ingredients. That's just a corned beef sandwich. So don't fucking lie to us. So it was fine. Whatever. There were a lot of restaurants outside of it. When we went to Ishokan, which was the same location, the Novi Sheraton, met up with Dinner for Friends, and the only place we could get into was the On the Border that is next to the hotel. Do not eat there. Like, I was suspicious because I kept calling around. No one was picking up, or they were like, we have like a 2-hour wait. And I was like, this is bullshit. I called there. I was like, do you have a wait? We have a party of 6. And they were like, oh, no wait. That should have been my first inclination that this was not going to be good. It was it just wasn't. It was kind of greasy. It was messy. It just wasn't meh. It was whatever. Tekko, not too much to report there. Food was good. We went to Condado Tacos again. Very quick service. Their margaritas were a little small for what you got. I didn't do a flight like I did last year. I just got a standalone margarita. They were good, but it was also just, I don't know, it could have been a bigger portion size, but that's also just me being a lush, I guess. We went to a couple other places while out there. I can't remember any of the names of these places, I'm sorry. We went to like just a chill bar, and it was funny because Kim and I essentially got the same order. We both got like a buffalo smash burger, and we even got the same drink because it sounded really good. And Elaine is a vegetarian, so she got she's a pescatarian, so she will dabble in fish now and again. And I think she got something with fish, and she also got poutine because as our resident Canadian, she was like, if they have poutine on the menu, I need to judge it. Here's how you make poutine, okay? It's the simplest fucking thing in the world. You have some nice, hot, crispy, thick-cut fries with the skins on. That's the key. You want the skin on the fries, okay? So don't peel your potatoes. And then it's a brown gravy. Which you think, oh, like a beef gravy. No, apparently it's slightly different. It's brown gravy. And then cheese curds. Just plain, squeaky, white cheese curds. Easy, right? Like, delicious. Very good for you. Very low in sodium. There was no gravy. I swear to God, there was no gravy on her poutine. I was like, where's the fucking gravy? She's like, oh, it was like a little puddle like that. Like, no, you need this bitch to be swimming, all right? If you're going to do poutine, the gravy needs to be there. It was not there. So I think we were all kind of disappointed for her. Like, would it have killed them to... It had to have been... It was like constant... I don't know. Were they low on gravy? Did they just not want to make more? Like, it's just water in a fucking packet. I don't know. So that was pretty disappointing. We were all kind of like, this isn't poutine. Like, this is... And the cheese was also just kind of like... It was like just a melted puddle. I'm like, do you even know what fucking poutine is? Like, it should not be this hard to put together. Our burgers were good. They were a little dry. They were a little tall. When you do use bison or buffalo meat for burgers, you typically do need to do a blend of bison and cow, because bison is so much leaner than cow, so you do need the fattiness from like an 80-20 of cow ground beef to act as a binder and preserve some of the tenderness in the bison meat. But they could have had a little more sauce or something on them. They were good, but they were also like, I don't know. We also had to wait forever for a waitress, so that kind of sucked. Like, I finally had to flag someone down and be like, we want to give you orders. We want to order food and give you money. So, but once we actually like grabbed someone, then it was a pretty quick process. The next day, still talking about Tekko, we ate at an Asian fusion place, which was also very good. I had another cocktail. No, I can't tell you what it was. I don't remember. And then I got a short rib sukiyaki, which was very good. Honestly, could have had more short rib in it, but I am a short rib girly. I do love my short ribs. So got dessert. We did sort of a medley of their cakes that they had. They had I think it was like a mango and raspberry tort. That was very good. I got the Death by Chocolate cake, it was very rich, as chocolate is wont to be. So as usual, Pittsburgh, pretty decent food places. I was pretty happy overall. Vegas. Oh my god, Vegas. So we did watch Sophia Nygaard's Vegas videos that she's been making to kind of prep and get some ideas. And she had mentioned, that Iron Chef Morimoto, Iron Chef Japan of Iron Chef, actually had a restaurant at the MGM Grand. While it was very expensive, it was also amazing. As a longtime weeb, I am a fan of Iron Chef, just the original. The American version sucks. Like, I can't explain why, it just does. What you have to do is you have to make reservations ahead, of course. And there were 6 of us going. What was really nice is during the reservation, they straight up asked, they're like, hey, do you have any allergies we need to be aware of? On the list was shellfish and mushrooms. Now, my friend who was going with us, he's allergic to mushrooms. His girlfriend, I did not know that, she is allergic to shellfish. So I was able to mark that down and say, yes, we do have people with these allergies in the party that is coming tonight. They also did have a dress code. Women were required to, it wasn't like super strict, but it was definitely like dress nice. So button-down shirt. My fiance wore a tie that I got him for Christmas. The food was so good. We got a bunch of sushi. They had blistered shishito peppers that we got to share at the table. We also got the gyoza, which was also quite good. Very hot, but very good. Like, hot is in temperature, not in heat. The shishito peppers were nice and mild. They had a couple that were spicy. If you've never had shishito pepper, I'm going to be saying that a lot. Let's get used to it. It's not like a traditional pepper where everything is super hot or all the same sort of baseline heat. You'll have like every few, you'll get like a hot one. So it'll be like, mild, mild, mild. Ooh, there's a little hit. It's very interesting. So it makes a little bit of a Russian roulette sort of game. Like, it's not like painful hot, but it is, you're aware of it. It's there. You see it. It's, it's in your field of vision kind of heat, but not a punch in the face kind of heat, if you know what I mean. I got the pork belly fried rice bowl, which they prepare right there tableside with the organic farm raised yolk that they stir right into the rice. And it was so good because it was like nice and creamy. It was served in a bowl that was like 500 degrees, so it would cook your pork belly and the egg while you were eating it, like right there at the table. So you would get just like this this creamy, delicious experience. My fiance ordered up a bunch of sushi rolls for us to share. He got unagi, which is his barbecued freshwater eel that he really loves. He also got some maki. So he got a fatty tuna roll, and he got I think it's the Big Eye tuna roll. Like I've said, I'm just a simple Midwestern girl. I've always been a little nervous about eating raw fish because for some reason my brain is just like, it's like raw chicken, you'll get sick. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm on vacation. I did try one of the Big Eye tuna rolls, and it was nice. I was like, okay, I get it. I get why people are jazzed about this. My friend's girlfriend, who is also a pescatarian, she got just like a big, beautiful platter of different sushi, and she said every single one was amazing. They also got a cucumber roll to share, and it blew my friend away. He was like, it's just a cucumber roll, but he still elevated it. Like I guess they pickled the cucumber slightly, so it infused it with some flavor, and then they did sesame seeds along the inside right next to the cucumber instead of on the outside, so it gave it a crispness and a crunch. And it's these little details in food that set apart chefs who are truly dedicated to their craft. My fiance got a Wagyu ribeye for his main. Overall, he said it was good. It wasn't like the most amazing steak he's ever had. We also did a medley of desserts. I got the panna cotta dessert that Sophia Nygaard talked about in her video. There was one, it was called the Bonsai Garden, which we wanted to get, but sadly they didn't have it available. So instead, we also got their cheesecake, which it wasn't like a traditional stodgy New York style cheesecake, but it also wasn't quite a Japanese style souffle cheesecake. It was somewhere in the middle, and it had a blood orange and I think mango sorbet around the edge, or like a syrup or sauce or something for dipping. And we also got their Death by Chocolate or chocolate flambés. So that's the one where they pour they pour burning liquor over the thing and it melts the chocolate shell, and it's all like, ah. That one I was least impressed with. It came with a side of like a dark chocolate gelato. That was nice because it wasn't super sweet, but the rest of the chocolate torte was very sweet. I also burnt my thumb grabbing the bowl because it was still very hot because of the burning alcohol. I don't know. So that was fun. I was fine. I had my cold water right there. The panna cotta was definitely the standout dessert. So like, holy shit. If all you can afford is the panna cotta dessert, I think it was like $30. Fucking do it. We also had some cocktails. I had the Asian pear cocktail, which was really delicious. We also had some beer. My fiance also had a Roku gin blossom cocktail there, which I don't like gin. It's gross. But that was very delicious, very well balanced. Overall, our portion of the meal was $500. So this was a bougie vacation. This was a very spendy vacation, but that was our big splash out, big dinner. And so it was incredible. We went to Italian another night. There was a nearby Italian place where they give you like complimentary wine at the table. Delicious garlic bread. So we all went as a big group. That was a great experience there. We did pizzas one night. Everything was really fucking expensive. At Morimoto it was expensive, but it was worth it because you could tell the care and the thoughtfulness that was put into every dish. Generally, it was just expensive as shit. We did a pizza night in our room the one night and just kind of hung out and bullshitted and drank and had pizza. That was very fun. We also there was like an in-casino cantina. We just went to like one with like chicken tenders. I wish we would have tried more. I don't know. We had so much going on and we were running around so much. And I had been put on a mission by my friend Brenda, who I love and treasure very much. She's a big Trekkie, and she was like, I need you to get signatures for me. So I was on a mission to get as many signatures for her as I could. And so we didn't really get a lot of downtime to explore things like that. But we ate at, I can't remember the name of the chicken tenders place. It was called something stupid, like Crunchy Love, or it was something like that. Crunchy Brothers, I don't know. Crunchy Roll, there we go. They were pretty good. They were fine. They also had waffle fries you could get. And they were just, sometimes you just need a thing of tendies. You know what I mean? You just gotta have just a little basket of tendies. They all came with different sauces. They had different types you could do. Pretty good, baseline chicken tenders. So there was some disappointing food, sadly, which you never want, but it does happen. In the Rio, there is a Guy Fieri restaurant. It's called like the Burrow or something like that. I can't be held responsible for remembering all this shit, okay? We decided we would go there one night as a group and get dinner there. So we got there kind of late because me and the girls had snuck off to Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum, which I will talk about in a different video. And it was just, for how much what we paid, I got their chicken burrow. My fiance got the carne asada. I didn't want to do the loaded nachos. I really thought about it, but I decided against it. It was just And it was dry. Basically, it was seasoned chicken, some sort of like cabbage, sauceless slaw, and I think there was cheese involved. Rice and beans were on the side. It was all just thrown in a double layered cheese tortilla. So you had tortilla and then you had cheese in the middle. It wasn't there for me. It was just too dry. I actually only ate like half because I wasn't super hungry at that point. And I had the rest for like a late lunch later because we did have mini fridges in our room, which was very useful. Oh my God, I haven't even talked about hash house. I'll get there. It was better the next day cold because everything had had a chance to kind of like meld. But it just, on the whole, for what we paid for our portion of the meal, it gets like 1 star. I don't know. Guy Fieri is a great guy, he's iconic, blah, blah, blah. Not that restaurant. Just don't eat there. Go somewhere else. Hash House, we met a couple of times for breakfast, also located right in the Rio. And it's just a breakfast and lunch place. My first time there, I was like, I really want a blueberry pancake. I'd been really craving them, so I ordered their blueberry pancake. This fucking pancake was the size of my steering wheel. I'm not fucking kidding. Like, I took a picture of it because I was like, this cannot... I ate like maybe half of it and saved the rest for breakfast later. My fiance had gotten steak and eggs and it came with a biscuit and there was sides of jam and butter for the biscuit and he didn't use any of it. So I saved that jam. It was strawberry jam for the rest of my pancake for the next couple of days. I never did end up finishing it. Like, it was massive. My brain could not compute. Way too much fucking pancake for one human being to consume. I was like, you could cut this in half and turn it into 2 pancakes and I would have felt less threatened by it. So it was good, but it was a lot. And so that was kind of a problem because I was never able to fully finish it. We went back, the girls and I did a brunch a couple days later, and I went back and I just got their basic breakfast. So it's eggs, potatoes, bread. I think I got their biscuit instead of toast, and a meat, so like bacon, ham, whatever. That was really good. And that was a much better amount. That was definitely worth it there, unless you're literally like splitting it with a couple people. Or if you really fucking love pancakes, it was a lot. I don't know if I would recommend it. So on the whole, Vegas definitely was the winner and this is probably also because I haven't been out there in so long, so there was so many food places to try. While it was very crazy expensive, it was all very good. It was, it was delicious. We went to Omega Mart, my fiance and me, because I wanted to see it. So we went to Omega Mart, which again, I'll talk about in a different video. It needs its own video. And it's in like kind of a mini like entertainment space, Area 15, and there is a restaurant in there called The Beast. And we were kind of hungry, and he was like, oh, we can go some places. My friends were like, oh, we're at the Venetian walking around and getting dessert. And I was just like, I was at the point, because I'm our social director, and my brain was starting to run out of energy because of all of the traveling I'd been doing and all of the stuff I'd been doing and trying to coordinate and deal with this and that I was just like, fuck it, we'll just eat right there. Let's go look and see what it's like. The prices weren't bad. It was like general American fare. He got the brisket, I got ribs. He also got a Bloody Mary, like their mega Bloody Mary, so it came with chicken wings and quartered burger, what they call their potato tornado on a stick, like all stuck in the Bloody Mary as like your sides. So that was basically our appetizer. Really fucking good. Like, it was surprisingly really good for just essentially what felt like a walk-in restaurant in a mall. The food, for the most part, like 8 out of 10 in Vegas. We're getting about to the end here, so we're doing okay. I know, I've been talking a lot. My mouth hurts. Dealer's halls. Get some water. We're doing great. God, it's 3 o'clock. Tekko had the biggest dealer's hall, surprisingly, out of all 3 events. And I think that's because there is so much more variety to Tekko than there is for, say, Star Trek Las Vegas, and also with Otaku Detroit Summer Bash being a much smaller event. They all had different things to see, of course. All 3, any celebrity guests they had were right there in the dealer's hall. Otaku Detroit had a voice actor who I didn't know her, but my niece is a Jujutsu Kaisen fan, because that's what all the kids are into. And I believe she was an English voice actor for that series, so she was like, oh my god, I'm a fan of her character, so she went and got her photo with her. That was very sweet. I was happy to help with that. Otherwise, I got some stickers and things. I think I got some pins. My niece was able to get quite a few things. She had some custom art done by an artist there, so she had a great time. It was just a small little dealer's hall. There wasn't a lot I needed. I was also trying to save up for Tekko and Star Trek Las Vegas, just in case. Tekko, I ruined my life. No. Tekko, I was able to buy quite a few great things there. Again, they had like a huge expansive space. Artist Alley and Dealer's Hall all together. I bought quite a few things at the Baby the Starshine Bright booth. I finally bought a Kumiya, an Usa Kumiya. Never owned one before. They had a bunch. I was like, oh, you know what? Fuck it. I'll treat myself. I'll get a little guy. I also they had a beautiful Sugary Bouquet tote bag. A beautiful canvas tote bag. I was eyeing it. Friday, I think we went in to get a sweep. And I was like, no, I don't really need another purse. I have so many fucking bags. And then it was still there Saturday. And I was like, you know what? It's coming home with me. So I bought the Sugary Bouquet bag. And then I just kind of went ham, just getting like trinkets. I got that print of Jeffrey Combs for him to sign at Star Trek Las Vegas. The artist Neon Decay. She was super excited. I told her, like, this is what I'm going to have done. She was like, oh my God, that's amazing. I did post it on Instagram and I did tag her in it, so I hope she was able to see it. I bought quite a few prints this year, I think. Or at least it felt like it. I went a little crazy. Got some cool knickknacks. I got some things from Doki Doki. Because they were also guests. 6% Doki Doki was a guest, which was very cool. Artist Alley as well. There was just a lot of great things. I got a fuck ton of stickers. I bought a sticker book, so now I have somewhere to put all of my stickers, so that was a good buy. I was finally able to buy a new pair of white bloomers. I needed some for a while. Belladonna at their booth. I picked those up and some other things. I got these really pretty green wrist cuffs. I think they match like one dress that I have. But they were like a really nice, vibrant, like yellowish green. They're cool. They're like a chartreuse. And I'm like, you know what? I will find a way to tie these into other things. I will do it. I will put the work in. So overall, I had a great time at the Dealer's Hall there. There was a lot to see, a lot of variety, got a lot of great new stickers.
Oh shit, there's stickers. Yeah. My God.
And that was the Dealer's Hall at Star Trek Las Vegas was a lot smaller, but at the same time, how much fucking merch can you have? Not really series, but for one fandom, you know, and I know there's so many different series now, and there's all the books and merch and all the shit. And it wasn't just Star Trek. Like, you had merch from things like Battlestar Galactica, which, by the way, Mary McDonnell, President Roslin from Battlestar Galactica 2000s version, she was there. Very cool. You had things from, I think maybe Babylon 5 or Farscape, so you had those sneaking in there. Stargate. Not really any Star Wars merch. You know, there's like some like made up beef between Star Wars and Star Trek, and it's like, but you guys aren't even really the same. Like, yeah, you're both major science fiction properties, but Star Trek has always been a television series with, you know, the movies sprinkled in. They're fine. Just the subject matter is different. It's like comparing Law and Order to Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? Like, not really, because Law and Order's not fantasy. What We Do in the Shadows? Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, I guess? Yeah, that's a good one. Where it's both very much, like, obviously they're both about fantasy, but they have completely different takes on the genre. You know, you have Lord of the Rings being very high fantasy, being very escapist, and you have Game of Thrones being a foil of humanity and history. Yeah, it's like if Lord of the Rings fans and Game of Thrones fans were constantly at odds. It's just stupid. It's a joke. It's everyone's just having fun with it. Whatever, fine. So the Dealer's Hall at Star Trek Las Vegas definitely had the least value for me in terms of merchandise. They did have some cool pin booths. They had one lady doing crochet. I saw a girl with an Ida bag, and she had a pink sparkly Batleth pin, which is the curved sword that Klingons wield. And I was like, bruh, where the fuck did you get that Batleth pin? And so she told me, oh, it's this booth, Troublesome Girl Studios. And I don't know, she's like, it's all in pink. I don't know if, like, my brain was fuzzy or if I was just overwhelmed or what, but I never saw the booth there. And she was there because I'm following her on Instagram now. And she posted a dress that she purchased there. And she was like, look at this great dress I got at Star Trek Las Vegas. And I was like, bitch, where was your booth? I want Batleth pin. And I looked on her website. She doesn't have them on there. She does have, like, necklaces on pre-order. I don't know. So I was a little bummed. I never did find it. Like I said, just like the others, Dealer's Hall did have a bunch of the celebrity guests. They had so many. They had, like, almost 200 fucking people. So a lot of them were doing autographs in there. Some of them were only doing the autographs in the panel room if they expected like a long line. I got Doug Jones' autograph. If you don't know who the fuck Doug Jones is, I don't know what to tell you. All right, you know who he is. You've never seen his face, maybe, but you know who he is. He's Billy and Hocus Pocus. He was fucking Mac Tonight in the old McDonald's commercials. If I'd known that before I'd gone, I would have printed off like a vaporwave poster for him to sign. The Baron and What We Do in the Shadows, the Pale Man and the Fawn in Pan's Labyrinth, Abe Sapien in Hellboy, the one creepy fuckers in that episode of Buffy, Hush, like he played the head guy. That. If you've ever seen the obscure web series Sock Baby, he was in that. The guy who wrote it is problematic now, so we don't watch it, but it was a staple in early college. It's very early 2000s humor. So, but he was in it. So you know who Doug Jones is. And so he was there, and I had him autograph a thing for me. He was such a just kind, beautiful man. Like, he gave me a giant hug, which I didn't even expect. He was just, because he was so excited. He was talking with everyone. Like, his line wasn't crazy long. He was so warm, so kind. Tawny Newsome was there. She was also great. Mary Wiseman, who plays Tilly in Discovery, who I love just because thick girl with curly hair, fuck yeah, we exist in the future, what up? Who else? There were a lot of artists in there who had beautiful pieces. I bought a couple of prints from an artist to have for Armin Shimmerman and Jerry Ryan specifically to sign, because I don't really get autographs done, so I was panicking to get these for my friend. I didn't realize there was like a giant table with either well-printed screen grabs of their characters or their shots and their characters' looks for these sorts of things. So I grabbed her a couple of prints there. Anson Mount was in there. Oh my god. This man. He's very beautiful. Like, girl. He was super nice, but I went to get his autograph. He was only accepting cash, and I was like, but it's 2024. It was kind of expensive. So I ended up just chatting to him for a minute before I could finagle with a couple other people to go and run to an ATM and get cash. Oh my god, he was so nice, very soft-spoken. He complimented my shirt, which, like, didn't expect that. I was wearing, like, my purple Hellraiser shirt. And he was like, what is this? Like, it's so cool. And I'm like, oh my god, right. So I, like, stepped back and I, like, hold it out to let him get a good look at it. Beautiful man. Oh my god. Like, and very kind and patient. And that was, I guess I'm leading into entertainment a little bit now, like general entertainment of the event, panels, things like that. Even though it's not my wheelhouse, Star Trek Las Vegas definitely had the most interesting panels, and I think it's because, out of respect for fan-run panels, a lot of them were being done by the actors and their various series, or it was being done by people behind the scenes. We went to a panel that my fiance was interested in, hosted by, I can't remember who the host was, but it was about the Okudas, who were the set designers for the TNG era and sort of the ones who essentially created that Picard era Enterprise that we know and love from the 80s and 90s. And that was very informative to him as a child and in his aesthetic and what he looks for in design. So he was like, we got to go see that panel. So I was like, hell yeah, we will go see that panel for you. A lot of the panels in the main room, the Leonard Nimoy event hall, were mostly the stars. And there was some, there was usually a moderator, but it was mostly just them, like, talking a little bit about their work and then taking questions from the audience. Curiously, who was it? It was Gates McFadden, Jonathan Frakes, and Brent Spiner who did a panel together, of course, because they're all in the same series. And they didn't seem to have a moderator. I thought they were supposed to. Maybe something happened, that person didn't show up. But they've been doing this for so long, and they're such old friends, that they basically just bullshitted for like an hour, and it was still great. You know, it was just them, like, cracking jokes. Brent Spiner did his usual Patrick Stewart impressions. Frakes took over as moderator jokingly for a bit. It was really fun to see. It was refreshing for me, and it was different. Tekko also had some good panels. We sat in a lot of the fashion panels. We again went to the plus-size Lolita panel, and we did some of the goofy late-night panels. They didn't hit as well this year for some reason. I don't know, maybe my vibes were just off. There was still quite a bit to see. We went up to the rooftop. We walked along the Allegheny River along the boardwalk just to check that out all together as a group. So that was a lot of fun. With Otaku Detroit, we did go to a couple of panels. We went to the Child Labor Law Violations and Anime panel, which is hosted by someone that I kind of know. So that was really fun, but we were there for such a short time that it's a little bit harder to judge by entertainment. But of course, always watching people at these things and seeing the interactions. They were all very fun. Tekko was definitely a little bit stepped down compared to last year. But overall, I mean, like I said, I'm still able to have a good time. I can figure shit out, you know. The tea party was a good time. They did do a separate chord contest. They didn't do it as part of the tea party this year. I suspect it seemed they had a shorter time for the tea party this year at Tekko because we all had to be out by 2. I thought last year it was 3. But they did have other events after it to set up for us, so I think that's part of why we were kind of ushered out and why they had the chord contest on Friday and not Sunday at the tea party, which was fine. Like I said, still a good time, still a lot to see. But maybe because of the novelty, Star Trek Las Vegas was surprisingly the standout for me in terms of panels. And I had kind of a moment of clarity while we were there, where it was like, you know, for a lot of these people, this is basically a job they did once for a few years and never again, and now it's all anyone ever wants to ask them about when there's so much more than that. And it's kind of like, in college, I worked at Cold Stone Creamery for 3 years. And it's like, what if I had to spend the rest of my life just going to events about Cold Stone or ice cream and people asking me like, oh, like, you know, what was the secret behind the cake batter ice cream? The secret was adding like a giant box mix of yellow cake batter to the ice cream machine. That's the secret. What was motivating you to make your ice cream concoctions? Like money. I think I needed that moment of clarity to kind of step back and rationalize, because I got starstruck like really fucking bad. Like I mean, you know, when I got to talk to Meta last year at Tekko, like I cried after, I don't know why. And this year I was trying so hard not to be like, oh, hi Todd Stashwick. You've got a daddy thing going on. It's hot. I don't know. What's wrong with me? Oh my god. It's the beard. It's always the beard. Don't worry about it. Oh my god. Getting to separate from that a little bit and just being like, these are just people who are chill. You know, they did like this cool job and now they get to talk about it for the rest of their lives. Also, it was fake. We were in fucking Vegas. Like, we weren't tied to just the convention. We wandered the Rio, the casino area. We didn't wander it too much because, fun fact, in Nevada, you can still smoke in casinos. So, my fiance is asthmatic to cigarette smoke. Walking into the casino for the first time, it was like I was taken back to a restaurant in the 90s. And I was just like, oh, like, it hits like a fucking truck. And I was like, this sucks. Like, one of the people in our group actually got a headache from it and had to, like, lie down for the rest of the night. Otherwise, like, wandering around, like, at one point we were going to an after party on the other side of the hotel space or the casino space. And we were goofing around there and ended up talking to one of the Star Trek guys for, not like like one of the vendors for like an hour or two about like movies and stuff that we'd seen. And I was supposed to get an autograph from Andrew Robinson, who plays Garrick in DS9, but is also the dad in Hellraiser 1, which took me way too long to realize because of all the makeup. And we told the guy that. I was like, dude, did you know Andrew Robinson Garrick? He's also the dad in Hellraiser. He just goes, like a look of realization. So that was great. Just interacting with people and talking and things. It was fun, but it was also, I was definitely glad to like be alone in our hotel room. Other things we did outside of the convention in Vegas, like I said, we went to Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum, me and a couple of the girls. Cause I'm a spooky bitch, so I was like, yeah, we'll go do that. It'll be awesome. We'll see Zach Bagans.
My name is Zach Bagans.
We did not see Zach Bagans. He was not there. We also went to Omega Mart, like I mentioned. That was a very surreal experience. I'd been dying to go. I was like, just to see it, figure it out. We didn't take full part in the ARG, like we didn't get the employee key cards. So we just wandered and explored, looked at the art. And that was a little bit tricky to do with my fiance still having to use a cane because, again, it is a lot of walking. But they do have a freight elevator in one side that you are allowed to use. So he was able to use that to get up to some of the higher levels so that we could fully explore the space. I wouldn't mind going to that again, though. It wasn't bad. It was like $50 per person to get in. Spend however long you want in there. It don't fucking matter. So I wouldn't mind going again and taking part in the story and like figuring out how all the pieces kind of connect. Like that, I would happily do that. But again, I would go to the Zach Bagans Museum again for sure. We did the VIP, or they call it the RIP tour. So we got to see a little bit extra things. We got to get a closer look at some of the artifacts. If we did that again next year, I would maybe either get the base package, or if we're feeling splurgy, I would maybe do the $200 ticket package, which is $200 ticket package. It is a 2-hour guided tour. Let's go to... Oh, they do psychic readings? Yeah. Oh, shit. Okay. I think that's the one that they want to do. It's like a late night. Oh, God. Do I want to do that? Yeah, you go lights out and you go through total darkness. Oh, bitch. You get a haunted museum engraved flashlight. Okay, maybe. Paranormal equipment is complimentary to borrow with your ticket purchase. Oh, man. I would maybe consider it depending on who else is going, because I'm very good. I like horror movies. I like horror anthology. I read spooky books. You know, I'm always watching, like, you know, top 10 most terrifying cabin in the woods stories, fucking bullshit on YouTube. I like to freak myself out, but then I'm freaked out. It's a double-edged sword. Overall entertainment value, definitely Vegas above everything else, and I think the novelty of it and the fact that I haven't been to Vegas in so long. We never actually gambled. We didn't make time for it. I don't really give a shit about gambling. Like, I'm perfectly fine throwing away my money on shit and at least getting something out of it, like a sticker or a pin or something, you know, instead of just like insert $10. Aw, dang it, you know. General rundown. Vegas definitely was a highlight experience for me. It was a little long. Tekko was still a great time. The hotel was a major dampener on Tekko, which is unfortunate. I had a great time. I have a great time. That's what I do. Otaku Detroit, you know, it wasn't a bad use of a Saturday. My niece had a wonderful time. She had a great experience there. She got to take pictures of cosplayers she liked, so I was really happy to be able to do something with her and connect with her, especially as we are kind of the main weebs in the family. I like being able to connect with my nibblings and make sure I'm the cool aunt. I'm the baddie. So if you need to talk to Aunt D, like I'm pretty hip. Overall, they were all great in their own way. If I really had, Vegas was definitely the shining star, just because it was like a full, nice rested vacation. The flights back were fine. We did have to, our flight back was at like 9 a.m, Vegas time, which meant we had to get up at like 5 a.m. so that we could pack up and get everything and get out the door and get checked in for security. And then we still weren't even home until like 8 p.m. that night, Eastern. It was a lot of traveling. Tekko had a lot easier to get back, 4.5 hours of driving, pretty straightforward. Of course, Novi, like an hour and a half, wasn't that bad for travel. Yeah, Vegas was the standout in terms of novelty, food, entertainment. Tekko definitely had the most in terms of my interests, and Otaku Detroit was a perfect bite-sized convention to just spend some time with my niece. I don't know if she would have wanted to do a whole weekend, and we just didn't really have the availability to do a whole weekend at that point anyway. Would I go to all of these again? Yes, but not all at once, because Jesus Christ, I'm so tired. It's been like 2 weeks since Vegas, and I was just so glad to finally be home and not have to stay half packed, and to just be able to be in my own bed and not have to kind of hold my breath with, okay, we have another vacation coming up in like a week. Yeah, that was my July, was Just fucking vacation after vacation. I need a vacation from my vacation. Some things I would do again, some things maybe I wouldn't. Wouldn't stay in the West End again, that's for fucking sure. Jesus. If I tell you there is used soap and then it takes you hours. Like, yeah, we were out all day. She meant, like, because she told him Thursday night when we checked in, they said, okay, we'll send someone up to take care of it. They never fucking did. So she told him again while we were on our way out the door 10 a.m. Friday to go spend the day at the convention. And they were like, all right, we'll send someone out to do it. By the time we got back, it was like 6 p.m. And they still had, it was still in the fucking room. No one had even been in our room. So they hadn't even cleaned it. So she was like, what the fuck? They were like, well, do you want us to send someone up now? And it's like, well, no, because we're all in the room for the evening. Like, we're done. It wasn't great. I think the West End was very overwhelmed. I think that they were short-staffed. And I just think it was not a good show for them. So we would probably stay somewhere else next year for sure. Yeah, Novi Sheraton was fine. The Rio was really great. If we do go in next year, like, I'm down. I had a, you know, I can party. I can fuck around with Klingons, So I would definitely try again. Also just to talk more with celebrities and be like, I'm not like a regular fan, okay? Like, I'm like a cool fan. Not a cool fan. I'm not. No. That was my July. This has been a very long video. It's gonna be fun to edit this down. How are you? How was your summer? Did you go on any cool vacations? Would you be interested in going to Star Trek Las Vegas? Or Tekko, or Otaku Detroit? What conventions do you plan to attend in the next year? Have you been to Omega Mart? It was fucking rad. I suggest you go. Like, subscribe if you want. It's cool. If you want. I know these videos are really long, I'm sorry. This will probably be the only video this year. Well, we'll see if I'll have time to film again next weekend. I can only film one video in a weekend. You know what I mean? Because I have, like, shit to do. Like, I have to flip my laundry right now. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I'll post again when I get around to it. Don't worry about it. And if you want to hear more about my wedding planning process, let me know in the comments down below. You just want me to focus on Lolita fashion, we can do that. That's fine too. Maybe I can do a, like, how to incorporate Lolita into your wedding. I don't know. Like, I'm not getting married in a Lolita dress because I don't like any of the ones that are my size to wear, and I didn't want the stress of trying to make a dress for my wedding. That's why I went and ordered, like, an actual proper wedding gown, because I was like, I'm not fucking with that. No, I'm not about that life anymore. I want things to be simple. I want it to be chill. That's where we're at. Thank you for watching. I've said that 6 times now. Now I'm going to say it 7. And, yeah. Goodbye. Let's see. Okay. Don't bitch at me. And then I only worked a couple days the next week